Charlotte just ranked ahead of Silicon Valley for job growth and is competing directly with Austin, Dallas, and Nashville as one of the top US metros for tech-driven job growth. By 2030, more than $20 billion in funded projects are set to reshape Charlotte's skyline, transit systems, and home values from the inside out. And stick with me to the end, because the biggest shift in value is not happening where most people are looking. In November 2025, Mecklenburg County voters approved the biggest infrastructure funding package Charlotte has ever seen. That vote set a lot of things in motion, and the window to position yourself around it is not 5 years from now. It is happening right now. So before we talk about transit and development, let me show you where the market actually stands today. Charlotte's population is sitting almost at 978,000 people. The metro is right around 2.7 million, and the region is adding roughly 157 new residents every single day. Not per week, per day. Growth here continues to outpace most East Coast cities, and heading into 2026, that pace really has not slowed down. When it comes to the median home prices that are sitting around $400,000 right now, Redfin and Zillow show slightly different numbers depending on how they calculate the different things. Now, Mecklenburg County specifically is closer to the mid 400s and is up about 2.3% year over year. And Charlotte City numbers show a little softening in certain segments, roughly 1% lower depending on the data set. Translation, this is not a market decline. This is a market rebalancing after the massive run-up that we saw in 2021 and 2022. Inventory tells the same story. Months of supply is sitting around 2.7 to 2.8 months as we start 2026. Keep that number in mind, because here's the deal. A balanced market usually sits around 5 to 6 months worth of inventory. So sellers still have the advantage, but buyers now have a little more negotiating power than they've had in the past several years. But let's circle back to that transit approval. The new 1% sales tax is projected to generate about $19.4 billion over the next 30 years. Roughly 40% of that goes to rail projects, another 40% to road improvements, and the remaining 20% to bus upgrades. The new Metropolitan Public Transportation Authority has officially established in December 2025, and the tax itself goes into effect July 1st, 2026. Now, transit corridors almost always increase surrounding land values over time. You have already seen this. That happened along the Blue Line in South End. That area used to be mostly industrial. Today is one of the most active and desirable zip codes in Charlotte, period. How do I know? My wife's family had a hosiery mill back in the day called Highland Mills. It has now been transitioned over to Optimus Hall. That area has been explosive and the growth has been unbelievable to see. I know firsthand. That same dynamic is now being set up along 2 additional corridors. The first is the Silver Line, a planned 29-mile east to west corridor connecting Charlotte Douglas International Airport through Uptown and all the way out to Matthews. The project includes 29 proposed stations. It is still in the planning stages and funding, but the corridor itself is identified and the station locations are already proposed. And that is exactly the kind of information informed buyers watch closely. Now, running north is the Red Line, a 25-mile commuter rail project heading towards Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson. The route uses the right-of-way that the Charlotte purchased from Norfolk Southern back in 2024. In March of 2026, Charlotte City Council approved $37.9 million to move the design forward to the 30% completion point. The established total cost is going to be around $1.4 billion with a realistic opening timeline closer to 2035. Now, that is not happening tomorrow, but the funding path is clearer today than it has been in the past. And Charlotte recently ranked ahead of Silicon Valley in the metric that connects to these infrastructure investments. Keep this in mind because we will come back to it in a bit. Now, running alongside the transit story is Gateway Station, located near Trade and Graham Street in Uptown. Phase 1, about $80 million in track and signal infrastructure, was completed back in 2022. Phase 2 is the full transit hub that will integrate Amtrak's city buses, the Gold Line streetcar, and eventually both red and silver lines. That phase has faced some delays, but NCDOT's current timeline calls for construction between 2026 and 2028, with a target opening around 2030. When that station comes online, it will completely change how nearby neighborhoods are valued. Mixed-use density follows transit connectivity every single time. And talking about South End, this is the real-world example everyone should pay attention to. Development there keeps accelerating. The Line Office Tower, a 16-story, 285,000 square foot building, and the Linea Residential Tower, 24 stories with 370 apartments, were completed in early 2025. Together, they show the kind of mixed-use density that keeps stacking up along the Blue Line corridor. And this spring, construction starts on a new infill Blue Line station that is expected to open around 2028. South End has roughly 9,400 apartments back in 2013. By 2023, that number climbed to over 20,000 units. And when you combine that with the rail trail, the brewery scene, with places like the West End Brewery, Triple C, and the walkable retail, the effect compounds. South End is the clearest example Charlotte has of what transit-oriented development does to a corridor over time. The bottom line is 2026 is the planning phase. The funding is secured, the corridors are mapped out, and the development pipeline is already forming. The buyers who tend to win in this market like this move before the crane shows up. Because once construction becomes visible, the opportunity usually shrinks fast. And right about now is when people usually ask me, all right, Mark, which of these corridors actually makes sense for my situation? That is exactly what I help people figure out if you are thinking about buying, selling, or investing in Charlotte ahead of these changes. I work with buyers and investors across the metro every single day. My contact information is right below in the description, so reach out anytime. All right, let's keep going. Bank of America Stadium generated about $1.1 billion in annual economic impact for the Charlotte Metro in 2023. That was before the renovation touched a single seat, the scoreboard, or concourse. That number really sets the lens for everything happening in this phase. The 2026 State of the Center City Report from Charlotte Center City Partners shows about $2.4 billion in new construction expected to start or be underway by 2027 across Uptown, South End, and Midtown. We are talking nearly 5,000 apartments, more than 1.2 million square feet of office space, around 1,500 hotel rooms, and roughly 250,000 square feet of retail. And that is not the full number. There is also another $2 billion plus allocated for renovations and convergence of existing buildings. The total pipeline sitting in front of the city is roughly $4.4 billion. Most forecasts show moderate appreciation in the 2% to 4% range annually. Areas close to transit corridors are likely to outperform that average. Inventory should stabilize closer to 3 to 4 months of supply as new construction develops. That means buyers get more negotiating room than they had back in 2021 and 2022. But well-positioned homes in the right areas can still sell quickly. So let us walk through the projects shaping these phases, starting with the stadium itself. The renovation totals about $800 million. Roughly $650 million comes from the Charlotte Hospitality and Tourism Tax, and another $150 million comes directly from Tepper Sports Entertainment. On top of that, the ownership group has committed more than $400 $200 million in ongoing maintenance through 2045. Phase 1 in 2026 focuses on infrastructure most fans will never see: plumbing, electrical systems, HVAC upgrades, and security improvements. The visible transformation comes in phase 2 through 4, running from 2027 through 2030. That is when new seats arrive, scoreboards are replaced, concourse expands, and exterior upgrades reshape the look of the building itself. And speaking of 2030, stick around because that's what we're talking about next, and you won't believe what they have planned. Now, the plan also includes a community plaza and a new upper deck fan zone. And here is an important piece of the deal. Both the Carolina Panthers and Charlotte FC will keep playing home games throughout the renovations, and the agreement includes a 20-year non-relocation clause, keeping both teams in Charlotte through at least 2045. The stadium already hosts close to 40 ticketed events each year, and it welcomed the FIFA World Cup in June 2025. So the renovation is not starting from scratch. It is expanding something that is already working. Now, the stadium corridor is not evolving alone. A new Panthers practice facility is expected to open up around 2027. Tepper Sports has also partnered with Live Nation on a 4,400 seat indoor entertainment venue near the stadium's north gate. The construction is expected to start in 2027 with an opening target somewhere between 2029 and 2030. That venue fills an interesting gap in the market. It sits between small clubs and arena-sized concerts, hosting roughly 80 to 100 events each year. So, Uptown is slowly turning into a real weekend destination district, not just somewhere people drive in for a game and drive out. Running alongside the stadium story is something else happening in Uptown, and that is the shift in office space. Take the Brooklyn and Church project as an example. This is a conversion of the former Duke Energy headquarters at 526 South Church Street into roughly 448 to 460 luxury loft-style apartments, along with about 60,000 square feet of retail space. The project is being developed by MRP Realty, Asana Partners, and the Rockefeller Group. Construction began back in May 2025, with the delivery expected to the late of 2026 or early 2027. This is Charlotte's first major office to residential conversion, and it is not happening in isolation. Charlotte now ranks 8th in the country for office to apartment conversions. The pipeline has almost doubled, with about 1,800 new units planned from office buildings alone. The city's 2040 comprehensive plan is also encouraging exactly that type of redevelopment. And being honest, because this is important when you evaluate development announcements, not every project actually gets built. The Brooklyn Village redevelopment, a 17-acre site on the edge of Uptown, was originally pitched as a major mixed-use district. A development partner was selected back in 2016. But after 9 years without a single building completed, the county ended negotiations in August of 2025. The site now needs a new developer, and the future timeline is uncertain. And that is a good reminder, some projects exist only on renderings. The ones we discussed earlier have either broken ground or are actively moving through design. Brooklyn Village is a very different situation. Knowing that difference matters when you are evaluating where real momentum actually sits. By 2028, the transformation in Charlotte will become visible to everyone. More vertical living near transit, a real entertainment corridor taking shape in Uptown, hundreds of residential units created from converted office buildings. Now, if 2028 is when the skyline starts changing, 2030 is when Charlotte's national footprint really shifts. When we talk about 2026, I mentioned that Charlotte ranked ahead of Silicon Valley in a national index. So, in 2025, CNBC's Power City Index ranked Charlotte number 1 in the country, ahead of Silicon Valley and ahead of Washington, D.C. The city's PCI score jumped more than 22%. That momentum is the backdrop for everything happening in this phase, and the region is projected to grow about 12% by 2030 from current levels. So that could push the city itself towards or even past 1 million residents, with the metro approaching 3 million or more. Housing supply is big variable during this phase. What this means is if months of supply stay below 4 months, sellers still hold the advantage. Once inventory moves above 5 months, buyers gain meaningful negotiating power and the market shifts. Like I mentioned before, right now we are sitting around 2.7 to 2.8 months of supply as of early 2026, and inventory is slowly improving. So that trajectory points towards a more balanced market by 2030. But Charlotte's steady in-migration and job growth may keep it from ever becoming a full buyer's market. Most forecasts call for moderate home price appreciation in the 2 to 4% range annually. Areas near transit corridors and major development hubs are likely to outperform those averages. Now, let me show you one of Charlotte's most underrated economic engines, the airport. Charlotte Douglas handled a record 58.8 million passengers in 2024, making it the 6th busiest airport in the world by aircraft operations. Charlotte is becoming more of a destination city, not just a connection hub. And the airport is preparing for that growth. A 4th parallel runway, a project costing more than $1 billion, is scheduled for completion in the fall of 2027. That runway alone is expected to reduce projected delays by about 58%. At the same time, the $608 million terminal lobby expansion wrapped up in the fall of 2025, and additional concourse improvements continue through 2027. All that means Charlotte Douglas is being built for a completely different level of capacity. And when companies consider relocating to Charlotte, airport connectivity is almost always part of the decision. In 2025, Charlotte added 37,600 jobs. That placed it second in the country behind New York City and ahead of markets like Austin, Dallas, Nashville. Atlanta actually lost jobs during that same period. The region also has significantly more Fortune 1,000 headquarters per capita than the national average for the metro of its size. And the recent corporate expansion helped explain why. Citigroup is adding around 510 high-paying roles. SoFi Technologies committed to 225 new jobs. And Wayflyer, an Irish fintech company, chose Charlotte for its U.S. headquarters. Honeywell Automation Division will also remain headquarters here after a corporate split. Now, banking is still the backbone of Charlotte's economy, but the mix is changing quickly. Growth is expanding in fintech, aerospace, manufacturing, logistics, and healthcare. Charlotte is competing more directly with Atlanta and Dallas for corporate relocations every year. And right now it is winning a lot of those decisions. But let's step outside the urban core for a moment. Union County has seen 183% population growth over the past 25 years, with development spreading around Monroe, Indian Trail, and Wingate. Cabarrus County has become known for the biotech investments, motorsport industries, and relative affordable land with revitalization downtown areas, along with Iredell County and York counties in South Carolina. These areas are expected to absorb a large share of Charlotte's growth through 2030 and beyond. Many buyers priced out of the core are finding larger lots, new construction in these markets. And we also have the Ballantyne Reimagined project transforming 535-acre suburban corporate park into a mixed-use urban district. That includes Stream Park, the amphitheater, the 26-story Oral Luxury residential tower, and a Wegmans grocery store opening in 2026 as the major retail anchor. 3 future light rail stops are also planned for this corridor under the Charlotte's 2030 Transit Corridor System plan. So, South Charlotte is not standing still. Another project worth watching is Camp North End, located just 1 mile from uptown. The site covers 76 acres and is a redevelopment of a historic 1920s Ford factory. In February 2026, Atlanta-based developer Jamestown stepped in as the lead partner. The site already hosts about 95 businesses and welcomed more than 1 million visitors in 2025. And long-term development approvals allow up to 3.2 million square feet of new space across the remaining 41 acres. Plus, a proposed Red Line station may also land nearby, which would change the accessibility of the entire district. By 2030, the stadium renovations will be complete. The airport's 4th runway will have been operational for several years. The Pearl Medical Innovation District, which opened in June 2025 with Wake Forest University School of Medicine's first 4-year medical campus in Charlotte, will be expanding. That district alone is expected to create more than 5,500 on-site jobs over the next 15 years. And by then, the Regional Transit Authority will be deep into the design and early construction stages for both the Red Line and the Silver Line rail corridors. The biggest change by 2030 will not be the skyline getting taller. It will be the value shifting along the key corridors. Areas near transit stations, airport access points, and mixed-use development hubs are where the real movement happens. And the buyers who position themselves between 2026 and 2028 will already be sitting in these locations. The cities that change their real estate values the fastest are not always the ones growing the most. It usually happens where funded infrastructure shows up before the crowd does. So, if you're trying to position yourself before that window closes, shoot me an email at mark@allbrick.com today with your timeline and what you are working with. Now, if you want to see another example of where Charlotte's next wave of growth is forming, check out the video I've linked right here. I break down the $6 billion River District on the city's west side. And the crazy part is people are already living there. Until next time, and I hope to show you around town.